What's happening, Hardscapers? Today we're doing a bunch of cuts. Let's get into this. They say the true mark of a good hardscaper is a good cutter. So let's see how good of a hardscaper I am. We got tons here around posts, around the steps, around this angled area of the foundation, around the entire seat wall curved. So let's see how I do. In our previous seat wall video, we did a demonstration of laying past the wall and then cutting our lines. We also have a cutting porcelain video that complements this project. Both will be linked in the description below. And we also did a demonstration of marking a curved cut and then cutting that curved cut as well using some PVC pipe. So when we are marking curved cuts, it's always nice to have some 3/4 inch conduit, or if you use plastic edge restraint, also that plastic edge restraint works for this as well. And you just pick points where you're going to put some weight on either side to be able to curve it to wherever you like it. So we're coming off this step, we want it to be in line with that step. And now I'll still mark this, even though it bows out here, we're going to remark it so that it's a straight line. So you can see it comes straight, but then it bows out this way just a little bit here and then comes back in. We will put our 8-foot level on this and then make sure that's a straight line. But then wherever that 8-foot level lines up, we will start to actually start that curve. So we'll match this and then it'll curve nicely into this edge of the wall. But this project requires a lot of complicated cuts around posts or angled foundations. So we're going to show you exactly what we did here. Now when I'm doing these cuts, basically, especially these tricky cuts, you can see that we had to work around this guy. So this is eventually going to have some sort of dressing on it. So we just did our best to get a nice circular cut to dress it up for now, and that'll be hidden eventually. These ones, I just put my straight edge along our edge, and then I can measure how much that's taken up. It's about 1/2 inch. For this next one, we can double check that. We can go like that and make sure that we're nice and straight by measuring here and over here. We're 1/2 inch again. And what I've been using, and I also know that from this piece to the middle point of this, we are 15 5/8. So I measure that halfway point, and I also know that this pop-up emitter is about the same diameter as that. So I know that if that's my halfway point, I can go 1/2 inch, and I can put this roughly on that halfway point and measure around it, and that's pretty good. So now I know if I carve that out, that's going to go in that nicely. And that's perfect. Now we just have to make a notch for that bolt that's sticking out there. But we got good spacing, lines up with the edge. Good cut. Perfect. So all I did here was measure from piece including the gap to this, and piece including the 1/8 inch gap to this. That gives me exactly the area where that is. I know that these are about 3 inches. That's about the same as this. That gave me a good cut there. So I know if I put this now here and I mark it, that's going to give me a good cut. So I'm going to go all around this, and then I'll cut in here and in here, and then this will be my piece that I inset in there, just like that. With circular cuts, you can cut straight lines all through where you need to cut to, and then break off those slivers, and then angle your blade to get nice rounded edges wherever you need to for this. Problem with this is you can only do this to the depth of what your saw is able to. So in some cases, we actually need to use an angle grinder with a circular bit to be able to get those circles. Along the foundation, we can't lay past it like we did with our seat wall example, where we were able to lay past that base layer of seat wall, mark our cuts and cut in place. If it was a straight foundation, you could lay as close as you can to the foundation and then measure that overlap between pieces, and that would be essentially your cut that you would need to do to be able to lay that piece in place. In this case, with all the angles, we use an angle finder to find those angles. We measure the distance from our start point to where that wall starts to angle, mark our angles, and then cut. And there we go. We need to clean up that one a little bit on the left side, but we also want a little bit of more of a gap. So we'll slice this just a little bit along that long edge. It's very important that it's better to undercut rather than overcut in these situations, because you can always cut again rather than you cut too much and now you need to use a new piece to be able to get that. You can see for this corner piece, I just follow my line. This one's a lot easier because it's just one triangle and I know 2 measurements, and then I can just draw my angle to match those 2 measurements. And then in these further examples, you can see that I've got my levels lined up and I can just measure from point A to point B where that next piece would lie and where that cut needs to go. There is our hide skimmer lid. We're cutting in this hide skimmer lid. It's square, and this gets difficult because we need to preserve that square to go inside of the actual skimmer lid. So in doing so, we do our cuts as deep as we possibly can. The blade isn't square, it's circular, so you're not going to get exactly all the way through it and to those corners. So what we do is we cut as much as we can on the top where our marking is, and then we flip it over and we try to follow those lines with our saw, once again getting as deep as possible, but you don't want to plunge cut it and get right through those lines. So we mark this
It was 9 inches from here to here, and now this fits perfectly, and it's going to line up with our edge there, and that works perfect. But it's so hard to cut porcelain that there's always something just flaking off or chipping. But luckily, the inside of the Hardscaper lid is smaller than the outside. So with the inside, with a little bit of room, with this height adjuster, I just marked it on this corner, and that gives us enough clearance to avoid that chip. So now we're going to be able to cut this, and nothing should chip now. And it should fit perfectly in here, and the last thing we need to do is this little notch coming up for that key to go in and lift out. Lift it and have access.
And this is our final result with all of our cuts done. At the end of the day, I think we did pretty good here. Now, I don't think anyone's ever said that about hardscapers. The good hardscaper is a person who does good cuts, but I'm gonna say that for this. Hey, I hope this video has helped you in some way. If it has, please give this video a like, comment below any questions you may have, and subscribe to this YouTube channel for more hardscaping content like this. Thank you so much for watching.